Do you want to speak English confidently but don't know where to start? Are you struggling with grammar, vocabulary, or pronunciation? Don't worry. Learning English is easier than you think, and I'm here to help you. In this video, I will show you the best and simplest ways to improve your English step by step. Whether you are a beginner or trying to get better, these tips will help you speak naturally and fluently. So stay with me until the end, and let's start your English learning journey together. Learning English is like building a house. You need a strong foundation before you can add more layers. That foundation starts with the basics, and if you skip them, you may struggle later. One of the most important reasons to start with the basics is that English has specific rules for sentence structure, grammar, and pronunciation. Without understanding these, learners often make mistakes that become hard to fix over time. When someone learns the correct way from the beginning, they gain confidence and improve faster. Essential grammar rules are the backbone of English communication. Learners must understand sentence structure, which usually follows the pattern of subject, verb, and object. For example, in the sentence, I eat an apple, I is the subject, eat is the verb, and an apple is the object. Knowing this basic rule helps in forming correct sentences. Another important grammar rule is verb tenses. Many learners struggle with past, present, and future tenses. For example, I go to school is present tense, while I went to school is past tense. Using the wrong tense can change the meaning of a sentence. Subject-verb agreement is another key rule. A singular subject needs a singular verb, and a plural subject needs a plural verb. Saying she go to the market is incorrect because go should be goes. Understanding these small but important rules makes communication clear and correct. Practicing simple sentence structures is the best way for beginners to improve. A good method is to start with short and clear sentences. Instead of making long and complicated sentences, learners should begin with basic ones, such as she is happy or they have a dog. Speaking and writing these sentences repeatedly helps in building fluency. Another way to practice is by forming daily sentences based on routine activities. Saying, I wake up at 7, I drink tea, or I read a book helps learners get comfortable with common sentence patterns. Reading simple English books, listening to basic conversations, and repeating phrases aloud also help in improving sentence structure. Beginners often make common mistakes when learning English, but these mistakes can be avoided with practice and attention. One frequent mistake is translating directly from their native language, which often leads to incorrect sentence structures. English has its own way of arranging words, and direct translation does not always work. Another common mistake is forgetting to use articles like a and the. Saying I saw a dog instead of I saw a dog sounds unnatural. Pronunciation errors also happen when learners mispronounce words due to their native language influence. Listening to native speakers and repeating after them can help improve pronunciation. Grammar mistakes, such as using he instead of she or confusing your and your, are also common. To avoid these errors, learners should practice regularly and pay attention to details. Starting with the basics is the best way to learn English correctly. When learners focus on grammar rules, simple sentence structures, and common mistakes, they improve step by step. Building a strong foundation makes the learning process easier and helps learners become more confident in speaking and writing. Speaking is the most important part of learning English because it is the key to fluency. Many learners focus too much on reading and writing, but real confidence comes from speaking. When someone speaks regularly, their brain gets used to thinking in English, and they become more comfortable expressing their thoughts. Speaking also helps in remembering words and sentence structures better than just reading or writing them. Fluency is not about knowing big words or perfect grammar. It is about speaking naturally without hesitation. The more a person speaks, the faster they improve, which is why speaking practice should be a top priority for every learner. One big challenge many learners face is not having someone to talk to. However, this should not stop anyone from practicing. There are many ways to practice speaking alone. One effective method is thinking in English. Instead of translating from their native language, learners should try to describe things around them in English. For example, if someone is in a park, they can think, "The weather is nice today. I see children playing." Another useful technique is speaking in front of a mirror. This helps with confidence and allows learners to see their facial expressions while speaking. Recording yourself is also a great way to improve. By listening to their own voice, learners can find their mistakes and work on them. Additionally, reading aloud from books or articles improves pronunciation and rhythm. Pronunciation is a common struggle, but there are simple techniques to improve it. One of the best methods is listening to native speakers through movies, podcasts, or YouTube videos and repeating after them. This technique, known as shadowing, helps learners copy the way native speakers pronounce words and form sentences. Another important tip is to focus on difficult sounds. Every language has sounds that are hard for learners to pronounce. For example, some learners find the TH sound in words like think and this difficult. Practicing these tricky sounds slowly and repeatedly helps in mastering them. Using tongue twisters like "she sells seashells by the seashore" is another fun way to improve pronunciation. Daily conversations play a huge role in fluency. Speaking English every day, even for a few minutes, makes a big difference. Learners can start by talking to themselves about their day, such as today, "I woke up early. I had breakfast. Now I am going to work." Even small conversations help in building confidence. If they have friends or family members who speak English, they should try to have short English conversations with them. Joining online speaking groups or using language exchange apps also helps in getting real practice. The key to fluency is not worrying about mistakes, but focusing on speaking as much as possible. Over time, speaking becomes natural and learners start thinking in English without effort. The best way to become fluent is to speak every day. It does not matter if someone is alone or has no speaking partner. There are always ways to practice. Listening, repeating, and using English in daily life help in making English feel natural. When learners stop being afraid and start speaking, they become fluent much faster. Vocabulary is the key to speaking English fluently because words are the building blocks of communication. Without enough words, it is difficult to express thoughts clearly and confidently. A person may know grammar rules and sentence structures, but if they do not have the right words, they will struggle to speak. Learning new words daily helps in forming better sentences, understanding conversations, and improving listening skills. A strong vocabulary also makes speaking more natural because learners do not have to stop and think about what to say. The more words a person knows, the easier it becomes to express ideas and have smooth conversations in English. One of the best ways to learn and remember new words is to focus on practical vocabulary. Instead of trying to memorize long lists of difficult words, learners should start with words they can use in daily life. Learning words in context makes them easier to remember. For example, instead of just learning the word delicious, learners can use it in a sentence like, "This food is delicious." Writing down new words with their meanings and examples in a notebook helps with memorization. Another powerful technique is learning words in groups. Instead of learning random words, learners can focus on categories such as food, travel, or emotions. For example, learning words like angry, happy, excited, and nervous together helps in remembering them better. Using new words in daily life is the best way to make them a permanent part of vocabulary. Learners should try to use a new word at least 3 times in a day. If someone learns the word amazing, they can use it in sentences like, "This movie is amazing," "The weather is amazing today," or "You're doing an amazing job." Another great way to practice is describing things around them. For example, instead of just saying, "The room is nice," they can say, "The room is comfortable and spacious." Speaking, writing, and even thinking in English using new words helps in remembering them for a long time. Learning vocabulary does not have to be boring, because there are many fun ways to expand word knowledge. Playing word games like Scrabble, crossword puzzles, or word search helps in learning new words while having fun. Using language apps like Duolingo, Memrise, or Anki makes vocabulary learning interactive and enjoyable. Watching movies or TV shows with subtitles helps in learning new words in real conversations. Listening to English songs and trying to understand the lyrics is another fun way to improve vocabulary. Reading books, articles, or even short stories in English introduces learners to new words naturally. Building vocabulary is a daily process, and the key is to learn words in a way that is easy and enjoyable. When learners focus on useful words, practice them in real situations, and use fun methods to remember them, they improve quickly. A rich vocabulary makes speaking English smoother and more confident, bringing learners closer to fluency. Listening is one of the most powerful ways to improve fluency in English. When learners listen regularly, they become familiar with the natural flow of the language, including pronunciation, intonation, and sentence patterns. Listening also helps in understanding how native speakers connect words and use expressions in real conversations. The more a person listens, the easier it becomes to think in English and respond quickly without translating from their native language. Fluency is not just about speaking. It is also about understanding conversations in real time. When learners develop good listening skills, they feel more confident in discussions and can express themselves more naturally. There are many great resources for English listening practice, and choosing the right ones depends on the learner's level. Podcasts are one of the best ways to improve listening because they provide natural conversations and storytelling. Podcasts like The English We Speak by BBC, ESL Pod, or All Ears English help learners hear real English in different situations. Audiobooks are another great option because they allow learners to hear correct pronunciation while following along with the text. Beginners can start with simple audiobooks like children's stories and move on to more complex ones. Movies and TV shows are also useful for improving listening skills. Watching with English subtitles helps learners connect spoken and written words. Gradually, they can turn off subtitles to challenge themselves. YouTube videos from English teachers, travel vloggers, and interview channels also provide real-life English listening practice. Understanding different accents can be challenging, but with regular exposure, learners can train their ears. The best way to get used to different accents is to listen to a variety of speakers. Watching news channels like BBC or CNN helps in understanding British and American English. Listening to Australian or Canadian podcasts exposes learners to different pronunciations. Learners should not focus on every word, but on the overall meaning of a sentence. They can also slow down the audio to hear words more clearly. Another great technique is listening to the same audio multiple times. The first time, they can focus on the general meaning. The second time, they can catch new words. By the third time, they start understanding details. This method helps in training the ears to recognize different accents naturally. There are simple but effective exercises for improving listening comprehension. Shadowing is one of the best techniques, where learners listen to a sentence and repeat it immediately after the speaker. This helps in pronunciation and understanding spoken English better. Dictation practice is another useful exercise. Learners can listen to a short clip, write down what they hear, and then compare it with the original transcript. This helps in recognizing words more accurately. Listening and summarizing is also a great way to test comprehension. After listening to a short audio or conversation, learners should try to explain what they understood in their own words. Another fun exercise is watching a movie scene and guessing words from context without subtitles. This improves the ability to understand natural speech without relying on reading. Improving listening skills takes time, but with daily practice, learners can train their ears to understand English clearly. Using different listening resources, exposing themselves to different accents, and doing targeted exercises help in developing strong listening comprehension. As learners listen more, they start recognizing words and sentences faster, making fluency in communication much easier. Thinking in English is one of the most powerful ways to achieve fluency because it helps learners speak naturally without hesitation. When someone constantly translates from their native language, they slow down their speech and struggle to find the right words. This can make conversations difficult and less confident. However, when a person starts thinking in English, their brain processes words and sentences faster, making it easier to express ideas smoothly. Native speakers do not translate when they speak. They think directly in English. Training the mind to think in English allows learners to respond quickly, use correct sentence structures, and sound more natural in conversations. Training the mind to think in English takes practice, but it is possible with small daily habits. One of the best ways is describing things around you in English. Instead of thinking in your native language, try to name objects, actions, and situations in English. For example, when walking outside, think, "The weather is warm. I see people jogging. There is a cafe on the corner." Another simple habit is talking to yourself in English. Learners can practice by saying their thoughts out loud, such as, "I need to buy groceries. I will go to the store now." Writing in English also helps in training the brain to form thoughts without translating. Keeping a daily journal in English and writing about personal experiences, plans, or opinions strengthens the habit of thinking in English. To stop translating from their native language, learners can practice word association instead of direct translation. For example, instead of translating the word apple from their language to English, they should picture an apple and immediately think of the English word. This method helps in connecting words directly to their meanings without depending on translation. Another effective exercise is using English dictionaries instead of bilingual dictionaries. When learners see definitions in English, they naturally start thinking in English. Practicing quick response exercises also helps. Learners can look at an object and immediately say its name or describe it in English. Watching English movies or listening to conversations without subtitles also forces the brain to process information in English without translating. Thinking in English improves confidence in speaking because it removes the fear of making mistakes. When learners stop translating, they speak faster and more fluently. Their sentences become more natural, and they do not hesitate when forming ideas. This builds confidence in conversations, making them feel more comfortable while speaking. When a person thinks in English, they also develop better pronunciation and intonation because they are not influenced by their native language structure. Over time, English becomes second nature and speaking feels effortless. Developing the habit of thinking in English is the secret to speaking fluently and naturally. By practicing daily, describing surroundings, Using word association and avoiding translation, learners can train their minds to think directly in English. This not only makes conversations easier, but also builds strong confidence, helping learners achieve true fluency in the language. Thank you for watching. I hope these tips help you improve your English fluency and gain more confidence in speaking. Remember, learning a language takes time and practice, so keep going and never give up. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more useful lessons. Stay motivated, keep practicing, and I will see you in the next video.